Any further ado, let's welcome Colin from Swiftmile.
Okay, great. Well, it's fantastic to be back here. I've gotten to know Plug and Play very well over the last almost 3 years. They're definitely part of our journey, and I thought it'd be appropriate for this kind of talk is to kind of walk you through our journey and how we've kind of become this, what we like to think of as a gas station for the future, for light electric vehicles. And our mantra is how we're going to power the micromobility revolution, which encompasses a lot like what the previous speaker mentioned, like scooters and e-bikes and other things. Our whole core mission is really to power the micromobility revolution using the most sustainable means possible. And I think that kind of echoes well, certainly with cities in the future, with smart cities, smart mobility. But I'll first tell you how we first started. This was kind of one of these classic Silicon Valley startup stories. I had been working with one of my co-founders, Leo Barrett, down in Santa Barbara, and they had this contest, this sort of raffle. If you entered in some money, donated for a cause, for Toys for Tots, you got entered into a raffle to win an electric bike. 300 people there. Who wins that bike? This guy. And it was right at a time where I've been an entrepreneur most of my life, for better or worse, as my wife might say. But by owning this thing now, this is in 2014, well before anybody was thinking about this stuff. And I use it all the time. It's very experiential. You use it, you go to Trader Joe's, someone would say, what is that? What is that? Is that a motor? Is that a battery? How fast does it go? And the more and more I use this thing, the more and more it got me thinking about the future. And at the time, people were now using their apps to rent an Uber and a Lyft. We're all aware that transportation is a major cause of global warming. And so kind of all these things started to fall into piece. Batteries are getting cheaper. The DC brushless hub motors are getting more efficient and inexpensive. So we went out there, and our first incarnation of this was to say, all right, what are these vehicles? What's out there? And if you can see here, this is kind of our first sort of image of all the different vehicles that we had. There was a scooter, there was a little trike, there was a skateboard, there was an electric bike. And what we're able to do is convince a lot of these manufacturers of these vehicles to essentially let us use them to go and approach all these Silicon Valley tech companies that are, as you know, all around us. So we went out and really started to tell the world about what we want to do. At this point, we were still a PowerPoint and a dream. We entered in a contest with Verizon, which I thought would be very appropriate to show, given that they're very strong in smart cities. And we're actually working with their smart cities group as we speak, deploying our stations connected to some of their smart city light poles that I'll talk about in a second. But we entered this contest. We're all excited. There's 1,500 companies from 78 countries, and we're one of the top 3 winners, which was a great boost for us. It gave us this validation from a Fortune 15 company that we're onto something big. But the $250,000 off the cap table was great too. So we went out and we started testing all these different vehicles. This was one of our first actual, we called this the Electric Roadshow, and we pitched LinkedIn and Google and all these other companies that we're going to bring these great, what we call PETs, personal electric transports. A lot more sexy than saying LEDs. And they say, great, and we said, if we get people to buy on, that's good for us, but the idea here is to show how many different alternatives there are to a single octane vehicle, which is really the name of the day, especially back then. And so, as you can see right here, we were only expecting like 25 people, that's what they said, showed up. Within about an hour, we had done over like 500. People were coming out in droves. They were texting teammates saying, hey, there's these cool things in the parking lot. You gotta come check them out. Nervous as hell, didn't have our commercial liability insurance yet. We were running around chasing people. Hey, wait, you're going the wrong way down the road. But it gave us another validation. And as an entrepreneur, you're constantly asking yourself, am I on the right path? And we started to see, okay, really it's for us, it's not necessarily the vehicle. Those bets are going to be made, and that is something kind of a different business model that we're thinking of. What we really wanted to be was we wanted to be this gas station, if you will. We wanted to be the powering system to power all these different vehicles because we knew the future is going to be electric. No one today is saying, hey, I've got this great idea for an internal combustion engine that I'm going to move people around in these cities in the future. That would never fly. And so our whole thesis was, okay, at the time, because we didn't have what we see today, and I'll lead up to that in a second, we didn't have them really everywhere. And so we built a turnkey system for an electric bike sharing system. And if we made it solar, it was great because that made the system 100% renewable powered transit. Pretty powerful, especially when cities are trying to hit their sustainability goals and we're trying to reduce carbon emissions. This was our first launch at the Silicon Valley Transit Authority, which is more of a manual system, but it really kicked open the door to get people thinking, city advocates, transportation planners, things like that. This was actually, I thought I'd throw this in here, we were, at the same time, we joined the Plug and Play's mobility class in 2017, which was fantastic, gave us tons of, expanded our network and really helped us kind of focus on some core parts of our business. We were fortunate to be the winner of their kind of niche day, so that was kind of fun. But as we started to progress, we started to get good at this, and we started to launch our systems. This is at Tesla's headquarters here. This system is really designed to allow an employee to go home and back, eliminating the need for a car, and they rent the bike with the app, and it's got a long long range, so they don't have to worry about charging it at home. And really started to grow from there. You can see we're at Google there, the Valley Transit Authority, Tesla, and also ChargePoint, which is a great opportunity for us for a business development cycle, our deal, because they charge big EVs and we charge small EVs, so we have a really expanded partnership with them that we're going to announce soon. But then the scooters came out. This happened in January of 2018. The world as we know it changed, certainly for mobility. That's when people woke up in Santa Monica and saw scooters on every corner, and people were riding them like mad and having a ton of fun, and people were going, oh my God, what just happened? And so we saw that and we went, okay, great, this is kind of the revolution that we're talking about. This is called disruption. This is called displacing cars. This is like when the horses and the buggies were starting to get interference with these cars that were driving around. And so we saw obviously that as a big opportunity, but more importantly, we started to see, well, what are the issues that are going to impede that from becoming mass adopted? And you're probably all aware of these, but to echo them, the big problem is they get left all over and flooded the sidewalks. Cities today that we've met with, tons of people we've met with, and planning and organizers, that's one of the major issues. They get damaged just by taking them in and out to charge them. So you have people driving around, picking these scooters up, and then taking them home and then charging them, which kind of negates a lot of the effects of the goodness that the scooters bring. Less congestion, it's easier for people to get around, decrease the car traffic in a given city. And then also the other part that we realized too with cities is they're looking for ways to kind of add some order to this chaos. This is just down in Venice Beach. This was 3 weeks ago. You can see when scooters, when there's too many of them or they don't have some system in place, it can kind of defeat part of the purpose. So what we came out with was the world's first scooter parking and charging system. It's not just for scooters, we're a micromobility platform. We can charge really any type vehicle, but today obviously scooters are the big one. The way our system works is we have our own onboard battery storage, and then our electronics and our smarts that are within the system. So when a scooter gets plugged in, we detect what kind of scooter is it, whose scooter is it, and then we can commence charging. Why that's important is there's many different vehicles that have a 36 volt, a 48 volt, soon there's going to be a 58 volt vehicle out there. And as we started to talk with cities, the cities are going, yeah, we want a universal system. We don't want one that is specific to each of the different manufacturers or operators of the scooter systems. And so we really took that to heart. And all those learnings that we did early on early days with the bikes is really what allowed us to kind of launch this second product. It's called the Oasis, where scooters come in, they take a little nap, they get powered up, and then we collect that data, share it with the scooter operators, and then we can share it with the city. I already spoke about this a little bit, but universality is key. Specifically, like also when talking with the cities, is they want a common theme in a way that the consumer can recognize, okay, this is where I can pick a scooter up or a vehicle up or whatever. It's a big part of it. But at the same hand, as the increase in usage of shared vehicles has taken off, that private ownership has taken off as well. So people, but think about it, riding a scooter is kind of like a test ride for possible ownership of your own. So our system is also designed to accommodate personal owned vehicles, which I think is a major factor for smart cities to account for, just as the whole ecosystem for smart mobility. Here's some of our deployments. This is in Berlin. We were fortunate in Berlin, Transit Authority BVG, they recognized us as a leading player in this market, and they just launched scooters there within the last month or so. And so what they're doing is they're putting their stations outside of tram stops. They have over, I think, 800 tram stops where people can get out, and they want to offer them scooters and bikes and other things as a true last mile solution. People come in from the outside of the city center, they get off at a tram stop, and they can grab one of these vehicles. And this one here is completely tied into the grid. And what's nice about our system is that the way we designed it is we only charge our own batteries in off-peak hours. Cities really like that. It helps play well, like nicer with the grid. This is also, we're in some campuses, Deutsche Telekom, which is in Colin, Germany. We're getting fantastic usage out of this. They've offered this as an employee perk. Their campus is spread out across about 5 miles, and now they have the complete system set up, and they've eliminated the need now for anybody to have to drive in these big vans and pick them up and then bring them back. Deutsche Telekom is trying to be 100% sustainable in their business, so that fit very well with what we're doing. We have a great partnership with Spin, which is owned by Ford, and fantastic partnership where we really started to scale this in certain cities across the U.S. So we're in Tampa, we're in Ann Arbor, we're in Washington, D.C., and they're also offering very equitable locations of this to put in key areas that might normally get ignored during this kind of big revolution of new mobility options. Another thing that we've noticed with hotels is hotels are turning into this fantastic opportunity for mobility hubs. If you think about it, most of you here, when you rented a hotel within the last month, you probably Uber or Lyft into that hotel. You probably didn't rent a car like you might have in the past. And so now you're at the hotel, well, the only other way for you to get around is to get back into another car. And so the cities of the future, all that, we want to eliminate that best we can and give different options. Hotels like it because it offers a differentiated perk for the guests to use. And for us, it's a fantastic way to get power to power our own system and for us to really kind of get this out and move the needle. In Portland, this is one of our first universal systems that got deployed. It's a single unit. It's outside of Portland's gas and electric. This is a great showcase for it, but this also leads us to kind of the big announcement that we have for another city that we're announcing here on the stages. We were just selected by Austin to be the very first universal charging system anywhere in the United States, and for that matter, anywhere in the world, for a public municipality to select an actual outside third-party vendor to be the charging solution for all these scooters. We like to say, one system to rule them all, or to charge them all. We're very excited. They have 15,000 scooters in that town, which isn't the largest of towns, and they're going to increase that. So we're expecting to have a really great showcase there, especially come time by Southwest. That's the screen I was supposed to show. But either way, very exciting there because I think it's going to be a great showcase for, okay, here's a city that's really thinking forward about all these different transportation solutions, recognize some of the problems, and is now working towards kind of fixing them. Because it's all fixable. Like these issues that we have are fixable. Before, when they're only in 10 cities, people didn't really have an issue. But now that they're in hundreds, if not thousands, people are now talking about certain things that can be fixed. And we like to think we're part of that solution. The last part, one of the last pieces is obviously we have to have a software layer on this that's reporting all of our data. So this is kind of hard to see, but we're reporting all the different charge levels of the scooters, how many times we've charged a scooter, the different locations. With cities, we can share with them, where did this power come from? Is it solar powered? So we can help them show this is how many of these different mobility options got powered off of solar. And then also with the scooter companies, they can now tap into our portal to see what different scooters that are charging. And also for us, it allows us to basically charge them kind of like a gas station. So they plug in and we charge them by the minute for charging. So it's kind of an efficient system and kind of modeled after the gas station. The last piece I'm going to leave you with is this. Not just to show my ugly mug on camera, but we got a lot of press, specifically because this is a very polarizing conversation. If you go and ask in any city where there's a lot of scooters deployed, ask a taxi driver, ask anybody, some people, they'll say, I hate them. You go and ask another group, they say, I absolutely love them. And part of that is because it's so new. It is, like I mentioned, it is a true disruption of mobility. A quick story, I was down in LA, at one of the largest cities in LA County, and we were there meeting with the transportation planners. And they said, Colin, I'm so excited that you come in. You're the first company that's here to actually try and address some of these problems we have. Because we really like them, but man, we need some help. We're getting hammered by all kinds of citizens and all this. So, okay, it's a great way to start a presentation. So I'm getting ready to kind of do my thing. And I asked, well, what do you call these things? Because a lot of the different counties call them some different devices, light electric vehicles, scooters. And she raised her hand and she said, Colin, we call these trouble. I'm like, oh, okay. So tell me why. And it was all of these things, and every single thing she mentioned was fixable. That's exciting. So now you're talking about something here so disruptive, so exciting. Every single kid today that we all have that has that scooter in their garage, and most people here probably grew up riding one as well. So these things aren't going away. Maybe it'll change to a three-wheeler or a four-wheeler, whatever the case is. But we need to get these things because you know what it does? It totally disrupts the car. And it totally disrupts driving, and it 100% helps with our smart cities and getting rid of more emissions and global warming and making people move around in a much more effective way. So I hope you join the revolution. Thank you very much, Plug and Play, for having me back. It's a real honor. And continue on.